Scratches there. Good stuff. Again, this hurts my heart. Use your hatchet. She's body blocked. She can't go anywhere till you use the hatchet. Use the hatchet, and then I guarantee you'll be able to follow up an M1 like immediately. Always hatchet first. Hatchet first, always. Midwich has had this audio bug for like a year now. Oi, 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 YouTube. It is super good to see you today. Thank you. You're looking great. How you doing? Doing good? All right. Be sure you get your water and you unclench your jaw. Today, we are doing a gameplay review video for a Huntress. Not only a Huntress, but a Huntress on Midwich that is using controller. I'm really excited to dig into this one. If that sounds at all enticing to you, hey, stick around. If you guys like the video, be sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you guys have gameplay that you would like to submit, be sure that you head on over to the Discord. The link is in the description below, and you can submit your own gameplay to be reviewed. That being said, we are going to go ahead and dive into this one here and see what we see. I love when the volume's high and I get to adjust it. I actually do like that a lot. Now, this is 720p, but we do get to see the beginning of the match. The first thing, as we dive into this, I know. When you spawn as killer, check your gens. Check your gens. Where are my gens? If this is the map and you spawned on the second story, right? So not even the first story, you only know where one gen is. Where are the rest? Where do you need to defend? Where do you need to prioritize? Where could survivors have spawned? We don't know. We don't care. It may not seem like a big deal now because you may still 4K, 3K, 4K, whatever. It's going to matter later. You need to know where to pressure, where to defend, and where you want to 3-gen survivors. If you don't know what a 3-gen is, I made a video on it. I'll leave it as a card up in the upper right-hand corner. 3-genning and allowing yourself to create map pressure, very important. You need to know where your gens are. You spawned, you didn't look at them. It worries me. I'm scared a little bit, all right? Let's take a look here. We're going to drop down. So you do know the map to some varying... Well, hold on. Nope, just kidding. So you know the map a little bit, but you're still learning it. Okay. Okay, so now we have a decent gen. So if I were a betting man, I would defend this one, the one you just passed, and the one that's up above you. Because these are all like in pretty close proximity. Like if you stand right in the center, your lullaby could be heard from all of them. And that's going to be decent enough pressure at even a low to medium level like gameplay. Okay, you peeked that one. Good. You listened for it, I would assume. We hear this one. This one's going. No. Hold on. So let's take a look. Let's take a look here. So there's two people here. That's super good. That's very lucky. As Huntress, you have hatchets, and hatchets are going to be the way you damage people 80% of the time. Going for the M1 here is very, very risky. It seems like a panic M1, so be sure that you're kind of patient, right? Be patient. No big deal. I would not go for the Fang and leave her. By leaving her, she just gets to like this girl right here that you miss. She's literally just going to get back on the gen. You don't want to go for Fang. You want to pressure this area. So definitely I would have continued going for Michaela. So we have the panic swing. We're running forward. Yeah, that Michaela's just going to sit on that gen. You pressure the gen. This girl would have to leave and go start a new gen. But now the Michaela just gets to sit on that one. Always hatchet first. Always hatchet first. We've talked about this like a lot on stream, and people always ask me with Trickster why you use knives first. It's the same thing with Huntress, right? When you M1, so when you use your basic attack, right? So basic attack. M1 refers to mouse 1. So, but when you basic attack, right, and you just hit somebody, that is a 3-second cooldown. You have 3 seconds where you kind of stop moving and she wipes her blade off, right? And then the Fang gets a speed boost for, I believe, 2.2 seconds. Is it just 2 seconds? It might be 2 seconds. Maybe it's less. Maybe it's more. So she gets a 2-second speed boost. So she's going to make so much distance while she runs away, while you're sitting there cleaning your blade. If you used a hatchet, right, I understand maybe not confident with hatchets. How do you get confident? By using them. So if you'd hatchet, I think your cooldown is like a second or 0.5 seconds. And then you're back in the game, right? And almost immediately switching, right? And so you're saving yourself an insane amount of time. Always hatchet first. Always hatchet first. If you could do it, do it. The idea of like M1 first, Hatchet second makes sense, but that's how you would play more like Deathslinger instead of Huntress. Huntress is Hatchet first, and then Hatchet second. Fuck it, right? What's going on? Because she does have the range to do that, but M1 first is not typically how you would play her. It just doesn't work out well. Okay. That gen will pop before you can get there. Yes, yeah. And that's because you chased the Fang and you didn't chase the Michaela. Had you chased the Michaela, I don't think a gen would be done right now. So keep that in mind, right? Again, I'll kind of explain it a little bit. The Michaela was here. The Fang was here. The Fang was running away. As you, the killer, chased the Fang, Michaela's like, well, I guess I'm just going to do the gen. Okay, bye. You know what I mean? Whereas if you personally like chased the Michaela, the Fang has to go find a whole new gen or wait for you guys to leave the area and then creep back onto this one. Either way, this one's not getting touched for a while, right? Remember, where you chase is also where you pressure. You know, they're the same place. And so by chasing away, you're giving them space. And so they took that space, which is smart. It was very smart of them as survivors instead of just being scared and running away. Okay, not a bad idea. You were kind of hoping for the hit there, though, and you were aiming a little low. To hit over these, to throw over these, you want the... It's kind of hard to see, right? The hilt, here's her hand. The hilt kind of needs to be higher. Because wherever the hilt is, the head of the axe is going to hit, and the head of the axe has, like, a huge hitbox. What I mean to say is, like, you kind of want to aim above stuff by, like, a good amount, right? So that it can... Because it spins, right? End over end, if this is the hatchet, right? Poorly drawn hatchet, then it spins end over end. And so you want to be sure the bigger part can also clear. Anyway, so what I mean to say is don't hope for your hits. Hold on to it before you throw it. Yeah. Okay, so the better way to play Huntress, let me talk about this a little bit. So the way to play Huntress ideally here would be to chase her around to the side. There's no need to go for the M1. Well, one, if you wanted to hit her right now, Hatchet, and then you could beat her with a hatchet in the head, like right here, right here, right here. Like you could hit her in the head with a hatchet. If you really wanted to, you could. That's something you got to practice it. It's tough. It's not going to be easy. But number two, as you round the corner to that pallet, right here, I would have pulled a hatchet back. If the survivor throws the pallet, right, like instead of M1ing, you pull the hatchet back. If the survivor throws the pallet, you get the free hit. Now, if they're really, really smart survivors, they won't throw the pallet and they'll keep running the loop. But because you're playing at a lower sort of level of play, not generally something to consider right now. So if there's a pallet, pressure them by pulling the hatchet back, and as they throw the pallet, hitting them with the hatchet. In this case, you whiff the M1, you take the stun. Here's the thing about Huntress, you're not going to M1 that often. You might M1 to down people that are in bad spots, but your hatchet is going to be like 80 to 85% of your hits, right? So get very used to using the hatchet and letting the M1 go away. Good attempt, but not worth the risk. This Michaela's pretty smart. She's not bad. Here you go. Good job tracking the scratch marks. Good job there. Okay, they stopped, though. You're not seeing any, so where'd they go? There they go. There you go. So that you just did exactly what I described a second ago. Oh, she's going to throw it. Bah. The only thing I will say to that is directional pressure. When you're looping a survivor, remember that they are going to go the opposite direction of you. If you impose a force that is this way, most survivors will go the opposite way, which means as you hit her with the hatchet, I am not surprised that she left the room. Now, there's not really a great way to talk about this, right? Because she could leave the room the other direction, but it may have been better to try at some point, maybe wrap around and, you know, throw a hatchet here and force her to like a more disadvantageous area. I don't know. Just keep that in mind, right? When you're using hatchets and pallet throws and stuff like that. Really, the thing I want to highlight, you hit her as she threw the pallet. That is precisely how a low to medium level Huntress succeeds, and we'll build on that skill later. Now, remember that you need to actually see it happen and not assume that it happens. That's important, right? To make them want to throw a pallet, what do you need? Well, you need to be close enough, all right? They need to be afraid that you're going to hit them. If they are a decent amount ahead of you, that fear isn't there. you're not close enough to make her feel scared, generally speaking. Not at this point, right? That's why she keeps running it. And at this point, you need to, if you tap the Huntress button, the Hatchet button, press it again before the animation's done and you'll hold it and then you can put it away, right? You don't want to waste this one. But be sure you're not assuming. You did great on hitting her last time, but now she's gotten smarter. She goes, I'm not doing that again. Not right now anyway. So you got to be sure that you're cognitively going, okay, I did that, but she may not fall for it again, okay? And be sure that you're putting pressure. If you want to hit survivors at pallets, they need to feel pressured to throw the damn pallet, you know? Decent M1. That's a really solid case of using an M1. M1s for Huntress are used to down somebody, not to injure, typically, right? Gens are moving kind of slow. The downside of this map is that barbecue's not going to give you a lot if you hook in the middle. Keep that in mind if you're using barbecue. Hook towards the edges of the map if you want to get value out of it, because if you hook in the middle, it's a lot more likely that you're going to, people have to be outside of 40 meters of you, right? If you're in the middle of a map, it's very likely that you're going to occlude people from that. So, like, if this is the entire map and you hook somebody here, right? So say this is the hook. Okay, 40 meters from there. All right, you can see people across the map. Whatever, cool. Like if somebody's here or somebody's here, you can see them. However, if you hook somebody in the middle, right? So we'll say you hook somebody in the middle and you have 40 meters this way. Well, if somebody's right on the cusp of that here working on this gen, well, you're not going to see them. Somebody's here. You know, it's easier to put yourself on the edge to get barbecue value because this map's pretty small. It's stacked, but it's pretty small. Okay. Break the pallet. Well, that gen's not being worked on. I don't hear that gen being worked on. Okay, are we camping the survivor out? Or what are we doing? Why are we doing this? You're wasting your own time. Go find people. There you go. There's no need to do that. That may have worked for you when that may have worked for you when survivors were like really dumb or not good. I want to say not good. Dumb is maybe not the right word. That may have worked for you at some point. Don't do that now. If survivors, big boy survivors see you doing that now, one, they're probably just going to outplay the shit out of you. Two, borrow time, dead hard, D-strike. Like, you're going to get hit with a bunch of meta perks, and then you're going to complain that meta perks are so broken and so dumb. When in reality, you wasted 30 seconds pseudo-camping somebody trying to, like, create bait instead of trying to create pressure, right? So be sure we're not doing that, right? Yeah, work on the hatchet. I think we're making estimations for where people are with the hatchets, but I don't think we're really aiming. Like, you drew that back before you even rounded the corner. Interesting. You pseudo-camped her, but you won't chase her a second time. I understand that you were trying to create pressure and find a second target, but also... There we go. He revealed himself. Knew there were scratches. There's somebody had to be there, right? Okay. So, I understand controller's hard. Controller is definitely difficult when it comes to hunters. Don't give up on that. When you hold the hatchet, or when you pull it back, try to guesstimate how much space there is, right? There, like, he's right here, right? There's, like, 5 meters between him and a doorway. He really can't dodge you, like, super hard. Like, he can't turn the corner and completely get out of line of sight. Not right now, right? So, in this particular case, I would very much keep in mind, just hold it. Just hold it. See what he does. He's likely going to mess himself up. And you do hold it for like a second, but hold it a little longer. See what he does. He's going to mess up, and then you'll be able to get the hit. Because what's happening is he's guessing. He started moving before you started swinging. He's guessing. And that's what most survivors do against Huntress is they guess. She's pulled back. Okay, dodge now. Right. In this case, I think you could have held it just a second longer and got the hit. He doesn't throw the pallet, which is great. And then patience there. I think if you were more patient, you would have got it. Again, just pull back the hatchet, but hold it for just like a second longer. Not a bad hit. I wouldn't have walked the pallet necessarily. I think that I would have gone like other side, and then he would have gone this way, and then you could hatch it, or This is a good spot to also attempt to learn mind games and moonwalks, which I haven't really seen at all. So it's a good hit. That was a good hit on his part. Now, you did see him run away, so you're just going to pursue, which is really smart. You come back and break that pallet later. Oh, good old audio bug. Yeah. Unfortunate. You just have to learn the timing on how long it takes her to pull back the hatchet. I think he'll hit it again. Nope. I don't... Ah, the indecision. Or did you get stuck? One of the two. I think you got stuck a little bit. Definitely just need to reload, move on. Definitely need to reload, move on. You're swinging very early. If you do M1 to down somebody, swing just, again, I think patience is the big thing I would recommend. You're swinging so early that, like, if somebody dodged just a little bit, you'd whiff. I would, oh, wow. Wow. So this is one thing to be aware of. I don't think you did this on purpose. This is why I'm going to point it out. As you play more and more, you'll get used to this, and you'll start to realize this. But there's somebody to your left. There's somebody back here. If they'd gone this way, they'd have got the pallets done on you. So before you pick up, if you see a survivor is down at a pallet, just check, like, around. Just, like, look around, right? And see, okay, is somebody here? Who's not here? What's going on? Okay, there's barbecue. Nobody's on a gen right now, so they're actually giving you a ton of free time. Okay, there she is. 720p's not treating either of us good. Okay, so this would have been the perfect spot for a hatchet. You would have got the easiest hatchet in the world, but I think this was a panic M1. If you hatchet her here, then you're ready for a second hatchet on her before she even makes it to here. And then in that case, like, you could even maybe hatchet him. You would have got this a lot faster. The M1 is for doubting, not for hatchets, or not for like openers, right? It's not really an opener. She went left. It's good. I have to assume she has dead hard. Nope. Or she just misplayed. Hard to say. Yep, just take the bird in the hand here. Because he's long gone. Okay, so somebody's on that gen there. He just got healed, so we have to wonder how he got healed. Scratches there. Good stuff. Again, this hurts my heart. Use your hatchet. She's body blocked. She can't go anywhere till you use the hatchet. Use the hatchet, and then I guarantee you'll be able to follow up an M1 like immediately. Always hatchet first. Hatchet first, always. Midwich has had this audio bug for like a year now. Good attempt. That was a really solid attempt. I'm glad you're thinking about like shaving that down. That was perfect. She miffed that one really hard, actually. That was very good. You wouldn't have had to have wasted the additional 15 seconds, though, if you hatch it first, M1 later. Same thing with Plague, same thing with Trickster. If you could use your ability first, the ability always has a much faster cooldown. 1 second, 1.5 seconds. And then you immediately switch to the M1 after that, right? And that's how you get it to work. Nope. No, you got confused. Yeah. So be very careful. Be sure you're not focusing too hard on one specific spot on your screen when you're looking around. Because, like, right here, she's right here. Yeah, she's just bing, bing, bing. So be sure you're not focusing too hard on the, like, it's very easy to focus too hard on the scratches, but she is right here. Not that you would have been able to easily hit her per se, but maybe you did see her, and maybe you're like, I'm just gonna go out here and get this crazy hatchet. But yeah, no, she has so much distance to do whatever she wants. It's just so unlikely. Okay, they unhooked. Where'd they go? If you guys can't try to record these in 1080p, 720p is so difficult to see scratches or see people hiding or anything like that. Oh, God. Imagine if you hatch it right there. If you use the actual ability right there. Okay, so you know how fast the save the best for last was right there? That's about how fast a normal hatchet would take. It's actually, a normal hatchet is just a little bit faster, I think. So I understand you're running save the best for last. I would stop running save the best for last, and I would stop running Franklin's on Huntress, right? You shouldn't be using M1s that often, really. Not often enough to justify using those two perks. And if you are using M1s that often, then you should not be. And again, you may be saying like, well, it works out. It's working out so far. But as you get up again against harder survivors, it's just not going to work. You need to use the range. She's 110% movement speed. Most M1 killers are 115. That 5% makes a huge difference, and she needs to use the range to make up for that. In this case, you M1 first, use the hatchet second. But imagine this: hatchet or hatchet M1. You would have had a lot easier opportunity there. And I think the hatchet to M1 would have really actually gotten you a faster down still. So the basement, and this is in the corner, so you'll be able to get like decent barbecue and chili here. Okay. Remember, you have barbecue and chili. Be sure you use it. You see one person, and that's awesome, but you spent the barbecue and chili time reloading. So, which, you know, a lot of people do that with Huntress and Trickster. Be very careful of that. What's the point of running the perk besides the extra blood points if we're just gonna, you know, turn away from it? Okay. Okay, good job checking the bushes. That's really smart. You know that, like, you have some secondhand knowledge of, like, okay, this is what survivors sometimes do. Careful of the stairs. There you go. I don't know that I'd stick around here too long. A lot of wasted time here. Yeah. Just because the gen's going doesn't mean somebody's here still. Simultaneously, like, kick the gen and move on. The gen's at 0. If you come back in 20 seconds and somebody's here, the gen's going to be at, like, 25%. So it's not like the gen's just going to immediately go. You're burning a ton of time on the idea that somebody could be here. And this is another great reason to use barbecue and chili more effectively. Luckily, Michaela made herself known, but she was not the one that was on that gen. Yeah, she was not the person on that gen, but she made herself pretty known. So, again, middle hook with barbecue. You will be hard-pressed to get any value out of it. She's not struggling. Why would you come over here? Closer to the gen? Not a bad idea, I suppose. Good attempt. She's so far away. Okay. So you know there's no scratches. You're trying to deduce where she went. I can't see anything on that gen. Okay. So normally I would look for piston movement to see if anybody's been on it, but so this is the good news is like you see right now how you have these 3 perfect like gens, like it's a little Dorito of generators, right? That you can like just continuously walk around. That's the whole point of watching the gens early when you spawn in and going, what gens do I want to try to get to be the last gens remaining, right? You have this perfect triangle of like, I could peek, I could peek, I could peek. I could just see them all really easily. That's exactly what you want to try to force to happen. That's what a 3-gen is, right? Is when you could force that to happen and set yourself up for success. You got very lucky that these gens were very close together, but say they had did different gens, you'd be having to walk across the map. You wouldn't be in a good spot right now. So you want to force the 3-gen to happen. So it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning with just regards to being sure you're looking at where the gens are when you spawn in and what gens do I want to defend in the late game and what gens do I want to let go in the early game. Sticking around this gen's not going to help you too much. You definitely need to put some effort into finding somebody. Okay. Ooh, she messed up. He messed up. There you go. Okay. It's pretty good. Just a little higher, you would have thrown over that. Okay, good job. Your movement around obstacles is very good. Oh, it's unfortunate. Yeah, your movement around these is very good. You're hugging things pretty tightly, which I don't know that I've had time to notice. Not a bad idea to M1 there. There's no reason to use the hatchet if you don't need to use the hatchet. Like, you know, save it. You're going to get the guaranteed hit here. He's going to go down, so it's not bad. Okay. Oh, man. Solid hatchet, though. Good prediction that she was going to do that. You saw her run towards you. I can't tell if you saw her run towards you, if you just were like, I think she might. I don't know. Okay, we know she went to the right. Reloading here is good. It forces her to stay in the classrooms. No scratches, though, which means she's not going to be here. No! No! I think she went behind you. There would be scratches if she ran out the door, and there would be scratches in there. I think she went to the room, to the other room. Oh, God. I think you gave up pressure to break the pallet, which is not inherently like a wrong play, but I don't think it was a necessary one. Somebody tapped the gen. Probably the Fang. Yeah, because there's no blood. There's no point in kicking it again. There's no point kicking. Kicking a gen doesn't regress it by any. Like, it's not like, oh, I kicked the gen, it does 5%. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It does. When you kick the gen, 0% is what happens. When you kick a gen, the gen starts to regress at a rate of 1 to 4. So if it takes 80 seconds for a gen to get done by a person, right? It takes, 5 minutes for a gen to hit 0 from 99%. Now we can see here that it's like 50%, 55, 60%. So, right, you'd have to kick it and nobody would have to touch it for 2 minutes straight, which is just very unlikely, especially if somebody's like hiding around the corner, right? We saw when you walked away, the Fang was like, I'm going to get back on that. It's not unlikely that somebody else just hops back on it. So instead of chasing the survivor scratches, you stop to kick the gen. That's bad news bears. You don't want to do that. That's a pretty bad habit. You're not actually helping yourself, really. Scratches went this way, yeah. Yeah, be sure that you're paying attention to the scratch marks and not just assuming. So we see the scratches go all the way down the hallway, but instead you kind of poke in here because I think you see these. So be sure you're looking at the bigger picture and not just looking at like, oh, there's one set right here. Yeah, that's the realization of like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, she kind of miffed that one, didn't she? And this is just going to be me imposing my personal beliefs. Slugging for the 4K is awful, and it doesn't matter. So doing it sucks. I can't force you to care about how other people play or to care about other people's feelings in the game. But, like, slugging this person for the 4K, they just get to lay there for like the next 5 minutes while you look in bushes. It's not great, right? Like, hook the person, find the hatch. If you don't find the hatch, they get out, neat, cool. They get to feel good about their day. You still 3K'd, awesome, dope. You know what I mean? See how fast it is to hatch it and then hatch it again? This is the prime example of how you should play Huntress. This is the destructive power of Huntress. Is you want to be able to hatch it, instead of like M1, oh, I gotta wipe my blade down, and then hatch it, you know what I mean? Like, you definitely just want to stay in there. In this case, slugging the girl helped. I wouldn't count on this helping much in the future. Again, don't rely on survivors making mistakes to get the W. Not bad. 4K. So the one thing I think that's really patience, right? When it comes to throwing the hatchets, throw hatchets first, not M1. I would encourage you to get rid of Save the Best for Last and to get rid of Franklin's just so you can understand that, like, M1 first, bad idea. Hatchet first as often as you can, which means, yes, you will need to work on your aim, but that's just comes with the territory, right? from there, I think you have a lot of good tendencies, but once you start using the hatchets first, I think you'll start getting a lot faster downs, a lot more frequent downs. When you are aiming with the hatchet, remember to hold it for just a second longer. Hold it and then wait for them to get into your line of fire, right? Don't try to flick or do anything crazy with the, because you're on PlayStation. I get it. Like I play on a PlayStation 5, right? Sometimes, not all the time, but so I get it, right? It is tough to like flick. So don't flick, right? Hold it. And if they're running down like the left, wait for them to swing in to try to dodge and then release it and then get the hit, right? Make them freak out. The minute a survivor dodges and you didn't throw, they go, oh no. And then they just start flailing, right? And then you could try to get your hit. So be more patient. And then the rest is muscle memory. It's going to take time. Keep in mind all the things we kind of talked about, barbecue and chili and all that stuff. I think you have a lot of like really solid foundational stuff. You're definitely, your movement is good for using controller, right? So you're hugging obstacles and things like that. I think it's just like little tweaks to how you're playing Huntress very specifically to fix. And this goes for Trickster. This also goes for like Plague. Use your ability first. Use your basic attack as a means to down somebody, right? Or if you absolutely have to. So that being said, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for submitting this gameplay video for us to watch, my friend. I appreciate you very much. I think you're on the road to the path to something awesome. That being said, thank you guys for being here. Unclench your jaw. If you guys want to submit gameplay and video, please remember to go to our Discord, and I'll be praying to the entity to see you guys in